Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for that introduction. I'd just like to tell you a little bit about what I'm going to talk to you tonight about, and principally where we're coming from. Who are Keystone Law? Why are we sponsoring this event here this evening? We're a London law firm, though we have offices up and down the country. We have over 100 lawyers, and we style ourselves as a unique and modern law firm. What it is that we do is we specialise in recruiting senior lawyers from up and down the country, but from the best firms, and having them work with us. They're all individuals that will have experience of the most complex deals from the very largest firms, and they bring with them that expertise to work in a firm that's focused in part on helping entrepreneurs and SMEs, and has really great and deep experience in the angel finance and the venture finance world. And the deal sizes that we do now are very much the space that we're talking about this evening, anywhere between 50,000 and 50 million. So it's angel money and it's VC money. We have a corporate team of 19 senior lawyers and a litigation team, and we are going to come on to that, of 11 senior lawyers. And in common parlance, we've been around a bit. We have seen about 100 deals a year, and when I say see, they don't all complete. Some of them we act for investors, some of them we act for management. But we've got a good feel for what the market's doing at the moment. And there's good news. The market is getting better. Deals are closing more quickly. That 1 year that you heard from David Caskell earlier, yes, it's quick, and it's quick because things have got better recently. And as you heard a little earlier from John, there's going to be significant announcements on the budget in March the 23rd, and there'll actually be some more details about that in the second half, I understand from the organisers. So that's a little bit about who we are. So now what are we going to look at tonight? Well, I thought what we needed to do in this modern world was we needed to look at how a modern law firm should be helping modern entrepreneurs and investors, and really to look back at the old approach of simply papering and documenting a deal. So what should modern legal advisors be doing? What is the traditional approach? And what really lies beyond that? And the theme that's going to run through my presentation is that there's true merit in the process of getting investment, of documenting it properly, negotiating it in detail, gives you a better deal. A deal that will complete more quickly, more easily, will involve less litigation, will be a better deal at a better valuation. And I'm going to explain why really engaging in that legal process can be a benefit for you. So, why am I telling you this? Well, as lawyers, we obviously never like it when a deal falls apart, particularly the nasty word abort fees, which truly is almost an expletive in our office. Also, the litigation team really don't like shareholder disputes. They are incredibly difficult, and you don't like shareholder disputes either. You want a quick deal, you want time saved, you want money saved, and you want to be able to make the best investment decision if you're an investor, or the best management decision if you're a company looking for investment. And that is why engaging in the process helps you. So, just in terms of the landscape, what are we going to be looking at? Well, the obvious options as part of your process is due diligence, non-disclosure documentation, shareholder agreements, articles of association, your management incentive plans, business plans, and I've bracketed these as well, employment agreements and tax structuring, which I'm going to touch on just that little bit less. So that traditional approach. Well, the traditional approach is that you find an investor, you find a lawyer, the lawyer papers what you've agreed between the two of you, you document it as quickly as possible, you stop talking to the investor, and you start getting on with your business and raising some money. And it has merit, but in this day and age, with everything so complicated, so fluid, is that really what you want to do? Simply, for example, with a non-disclosure agreement, is its sole purpose just to deal with the confidentiality of the information, or could it do more? With a management incentive plan, is it simply just to align interests, or could that do more? with shareholder agreement or some articles. Is the idea there simply just to penalise founders should they breach a warranty, to prohibit or maybe restrict the transfer of shares, or to deal with that ever-present issue for investors' dilution on a second round? Or could that do more? Could the documentation help you with protections in a more proactive manner that help the deal work? So with all of these, I think there is more value to be got out of there, and an engagement with the process will allow you to do that. So the traditional process is fraught with problems. It throws the investor and the investee together to do the deal, and to have documents with very difficult and stringent terms in there, but nonetheless they provide what you might describe as a nuclear option, and surely that isn't the way that deals should be done in this modern age. On the contrary, documentation should add value, and as modern lawyers in a modern law firm, we believe that adding value is absolutely key. For example, with any one of our transactions, and particularly with document assembly software as it's available these days, we spend significantly less than half our time actually drafting. The majority of our time is spent bespoking documentation for you, working with you as an investor or as an investee and finding out what matters to you. And that goes into the documentation, and it's shared between the investor and the investee to get to the crux of the problem. So, for example, when we're involved in dealing with a non-disclosure agreement, we often work with businesses to persuade them that this is an opportunity for them to review their own business information, to put everything in order. It's an opportunity for them to signpost to investors that they understand the process. They're savvy, they've been through this before. They know the importance of having a non-disclosure agreement. They know the importance of signposting to investors that they're going to want to protect their confidential information, and they're going to want to work with an investor in the normal in the normal way, but truly protecting the information that they've got. And the same can be said with due diligence. On the one hand, simply one party looks at the other, but that's a traditional approach. There is very much more to it than that, and it's multifaceted as well. So not only does the investee have to look at the investor, and you heard David speak earlier that he looked at a number of investors and decided not to go for the one with the highest valuation or to go for the one that came along first, what's sometimes been called dumb money. He went for the investor that was the best fit. An investment is very much there like a marriage, and as I remember not too many years ago, I understand that's not an office to be entered into lightly. And so it's the same with an angel or a VC deal. Due diligence needs to be done stringently. It needs to be done by an investee company on itself, because it can only make that all-important first impression once when it talks to an investor. And then it may have an opportunity to put certain things right. It needs to be done, obviously, by an investor on the investment opportunity, but it also needs to be done, as I mentioned, by the investee on the investor. Now, clearly, you wouldn't walk up to a large investor and ask them in what sectors they invested in. However, if you asked an appropriately structured question, for example, I see you've recently invested in X Limited, they're in the same sector as us, are you looking for further investments in this investment cycle in this area? You would have created an enormous amount of credibility, as well as getting exactly the right answer that you want. So it's about engaging in the process to get the most out of it.